Today's conversation is one of those reminders of why I absolutely love this industry. We talk about mentorship, what it looks like to learn from people who've been doing this longer than you, and then turning around and paying it forward. We get into the emotional side of real estate, the part no one really talks about or prepares you for, managing expectations, managing reactions, knowing when to pause before responding, and how to stay steady when things suddenly change. You'll hear a story about a deal that closed and then had to be sold all over again, and what it actually takes to navigate moments like that with calm, creativity, and trust. This is a conversation about communication, patience, and showing up as a steady presence for your clients and for yourself. If you've ever had a deal surprise you, test you, or teach you something you didn't expect, this one will feel very familiar. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. This is Brenda Thompson. I am your host for Just Show Up, the podcast where we talk to real estate agents about their journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, the funny, all the stories that make up our journeys and how we get to where we are. Today, we are excited to welcome Valerie Eberstein to our show. And we'll be talking about her journey and hopefully leave our audience with some tips on how you can make your role in real estate an even better one, better than ever before. So, Valerie, thank you for being here. We're excited to have you today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's kind of just jump in. Tell us a little bit about your journey that brought you into real estate, how long you've been in real estate, and then we'll kind of talk about some specifics along the way too.
Well, I had kind of a funny journey getting started. I was working for one of the neighborhood magazines, just selling ads casually. And I approached a builder that is local in Fort Worth. And I went to sell them an ad, and we had a great conversation. And at the end, the person I was meeting with said, "I'm not going to buy an ad, but I want to offer you a job." And I was like, "Oh no, I've got these two young kids. I don't want to work full time. This is too much." And she made it very convincing and convinced me to give it a try. So I did. I got, childcare in place and got situated. And that was about over 10 years ago. So I worked for the builder, which was a great start into the real estate world because I really got to see the construction side of everything. And it was different but similar to regular real estate transactions. So I had a wonderful mentor that's the director of sales and marketing there. And she gave us tons of training from outside resources and built a lot of confidence. We had a great team and ended up having a really successful run there. I stayed there 8 years, and I had been approached by a group that I had done several deals with, and they really kind of talked me into doing my own thing. So I made the switch, got my real estate license, and came over and started working with them. And they have built a really wonderful team. And it was just an honor to get to work, alongside them and learn from them. And so that was a little over 2 years ago that I made the switch into real estate.
Okay, that's awesome. And it's great because it sounds like you've kind of been pulled along the way, like introduced and said, this is something you would be good at and we want you to do this. And I love that encouragement that comes your way through that process.
It's been great. And I've honestly had such a good experience with both companies, being able to learn from people that have been in the business and know what they're doing. And it's just been a huge blessing for me to learn from people that have been so successful.
That's one of the things that I love about our industry too, is that there is enough business to go around for all of us. And so there are also a lot of people who are happy to share their knowledge and share their experience to kind of just make us all better. We all grow and get better together. I love that.
I agree. And, it's important to pay it forward. And
It is.
Really I've enjoyed it. Our group has a lot of girls that are just starting out and are much younger. And it's kind of fun to see them just getting started at, such a different stage of life. And I've loved watching them take little tidbits from things that we've all been through and grow from them.
Has there been anything that was a surprise to you, maybe even at the builder level or then now as a more traditional agent? Is there anything that surprises you about our industry?
I am surprised all the time.
No 2 days are the same. That is for sure.
And I think I actually love that part of the industry. But, it's a huge emotional decision for people to buy a house. It's a gigantic purchase and there's a lot of emotion and, financial details that go into it. So, just keeping expectations, right? And that can
Mhm.
look different with a lot of different personalities. So that has surprised me in a lot of ways, some reactions and just managing reactions and expectations and downplaying, not over dramatizing situations. Just we're going to work it out. We're going to figure this out. I think, occasionally reactions from other agents can take you by surprise. It's all a great learning experience of how to or not to react to things.
That's true. So, in that, is there a story that comes to mind that you want to share with our audience?
Well, I've had to really sort of teach myself how to take the emotion out of a lot of it, right? Because you get an email and you feel like you're going to get all worked up and respond immediately. And you've had to learn, like, let's give it a few hours and
Yes.
come back to that text or that email. But yes, I've had a client that obviously everyone's very proud of their home and wants to sell it for top dollar, and an offer comes in that's maybe not what they were hoping for or expecting. And there's a lot of disappointment. And you just have to stay on them and say, this isn't your buyer and this isn't your offer. And, let's just start over here and we're going to keep going. And let's not break apart over this and fall apart and be upset. This just isn't the person. So I've had a couple of those. And really, it's just been learning how to manage different expectations with different personalities.
And sometimes those offers that you have to present with the explanation of, I'm just the messenger. I'm presenting you the offer that came my
I've
way.
said that a lot. Yes.
I didn't make this number up.
Yes.
I'm just the messenger.
Exactly. And it's also kind of fun to learn about different personalities and
Mhm.
how to manage it. So I think it honestly just makes you a better people person.
Okay, so Valerie, is there a story you'd love to share with our audience? Fun story, horror story, either one.
Well, this is kind of fun and kind of crazy, but I sold a house last year off market to a wonderful couple that was moving to the area. And we had been looking for a while, and this really grabbed both their attentions, and it honestly checked every box. So they were really excited. We got in before it went to market,
Mhm.
got it under contract. It was a quick close, and it
Seems like
closed
a
like,
dream story.
yeah, it was so great. And then that was mid September. And then the 3rd week of September, I got a call, and it was the wife, and she said, "I am not gonna move there. I'm not moving into that house. I've completely changed my mind. I'm not gonna move to the area anymore, and I need to talk about it with my husband, but I think it's off the table, so you just need to sell it again." So, a series of, like, 1 week, we painted, landscaped, rephotographed, staged it, and then got it back on the market, and then sold it before the end of the year.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yes, and they made a little money on it, so it worked out great.
That's amazing. That part especially, that they actually made a little money on it.
But
Although I don't want them to think that they could do that every time because that doesn't happen often. Usually that would have been a big financial loss.
I think there was probably some tax loss on it from not staying there long enough, but price per square foot, they did pretty well.
Good. I bet you lost a little sleep over that one.
I definitely did, and I will say I had to get very creative when everyone kept saying, "What do you mean that house is for sale again? I just showed it." And anyway, but it ended up being really successful. I actually had 2 transactions this year that were, like 6 to 8 week turnarounds to sell again.
So
And
now
both
you're
were
an expert at that.
over $2 million too, so they weren't just like a quick little investment property.
Wow. So
Yes.
what happened with the other one?
A couple moved into a home while they were redoing theirs
Okay.
and got settled early and then just realized that they could not live there. It just wasn't a good fit with their animals and location to work. And we found something else and they purchased it. And then we put this on the market and closed it just right at the end of the year.
That's great. Kudos to you for holding it's more than just holding it together. Normally I'm saying kudos to you for holding the transaction together and getting it to closing, but you had to do it twice.
Well, they are both incredible people. And so honestly, it ended up being really fun to get to work with them a little bit longer.
Well, I hope they both also recognize you as the hero who kept it all together and kept navigating the process calmly and getting it to the finish line, too.
They're both lovely. So,
So then on the flip side of that, has there been anything that's been an easy deal or a funny transaction that you've gone through?
some deals are just so smooth sailing. I have one going right now that, knock on wood, has been really smooth sailing. Probably the most frustrating one I had last year was, a couple that did not get financing when they were supposed to and just wasn't going to let me know right before closing and then had to scramble. And that was very stressful for my seller. That was probably one of my most emotional, hardest transactions just because she was so dependent on the sale of her house to purchase something else. And I just felt so responsible for it.
And that's a hard one too, because sometimes there are surprises when it comes to finance. And when so often people shy away from admitting that there's now a finance issue. And the sooner we can deal with those issues, the better. And so holding on to it until the end kind of creates more havoc for everyone.
It does. Yeah. Transparency is the best way to go.
It is. And it's funny because my next question was going to be about, what kind of things would you share with new agents because you now have several years of experience. What kind of a thing would you share with a new agent? And you just said a great word, transparency.
Well, my biggest thing is communication. I'm a communicator, so I know it's not always easy for everyone, but there's really no way to over communicate. And when your phone rings, if you can't pick it up at that exact moment, get it back to your clients or anyone calling regarding any of your properties as quickly as possible. If you don't take the call, someone else will. My other thought on that is, we all get so many emails and so many text messages, but if you kind of have a rule for yourself that you'll get everything returned within 12 hours or 4 hours, I think it makes a big difference in your business because they may be emailing 3 or 4 agents and the first one to get back to them with the answer that they needed is probably going to be the one that gets the deal. When I first started, said to my husband, I was like, all of our friends have realtors. I don't know anyone that's going to sell their house. This is probably not going to be great. And he was like, there is so much real estate in the city of Fort Worth. Just give it your best. And so I just started working every weekend. And I tell all of these young agents in our group, work every weekend. And I have picked up so many clients from my own open houses, from open houses people are offering from my brokerage. Anyone that's offering an open house, it's an opportunity. So I would advise trying to work Saturday or Sunday and then be really, really forthcoming at the open house. Ask a lot of questions, try to get information, try to get phone numbers and emails so you can make a connection and follow up. The follow up is the other piece, I think, too, is just keeping in touch with people.
It is. And that's not only during the transaction, but after the transaction. Do you have a favorite tool that you use to keep up with people, or is it traditional phone and notebook?
I have a spreadsheet that I keep track of every year and the transactions that have happened in 24 and 25, 26. So I work off that a lot. But just yesterday, I have met this really nice couple at an open house I was doing for one of my partners. And it's been over a year and I have just kept up with them. And when they've been in town visiting their grandkids, I have done, a few showings with them. But every time anything comes up, I just text it to them. And I try every 6 to 8 weeks to just send them a text and just say, let me know how it's going. They've been waiting on their ranch to sell in West Texas. And I checked in with him at the beginning of the year and he said, still nothing, but we're interested. And I've just tried to keep up. And yesterday I was sitting in the doctor's office and he called me and he said, my ranch went under contract and we're coming in next week. So it paid off.
It did. Yes. That's great. Being persistent helps.
Yeah.
Kind and persistent. Sometimes I think people think persistence can be irritating and it's not at all. It's just be kind and persistent and consistent and just keep following up.
Yes. The follow-up is so important.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Is there anything that you're looking for to get yourself to a different level? Are you looking forward to any kind of a pivot or change in the way you do real estate right now?
I think I'm just, forging ahead. I had a really, really great year last year. And while I'm really proud of it, I would love to do better next year. And I also don't want to wear myself out. I have 2 teenagers and a husband, and I want to make time for everyone and do a good job
Yeah.
at everything. Yeah, I think I just forge along. And, on Sunday, you could say I have nothing going on. And then on Wednesday, you could have 6 clients pop up that are ready to
Yes.
make a move. And that's the beauty of real estate. You just got to be ready for it. So just positive attitude, I think.
I agree. Positive attitude and being flexible because, like you said, you may start out the week with thinking that you don't have anything on your plate. And before the week is over, you are running around like crazy, busier than you ever dreamed of being.
Yes. And it's important, if you can't make something work, give someone an alternative time. People understand everyone is busy.
And I think that's something that every new agent has to learn early on and in the corporate world, people are really good about doing this. No, I'm sorry, I'm not available at 2, but I can talk to you at 4, or I'm not available today, but I can talk to you tomorrow morning at 9. Corporate world is very comfortable doing that. I don't know why we worry about it, but with that communication, we could say those exact same words and our clients go, okay, great. Tomorrow at 9 is perfect.
Right. And, I try to be really honest. I one time had a boss that was like, just always say you have a meeting. But I try to be honest because, what if I am at my daughter's field hockey game and then all of a sudden I run into that person? I think it's just complete transparency but giving another option seems to, appease people, and everyone understands family comes first.
They do, and I think they even appreciate that. And when you tell them what it is, they also understand that's not something you have control over. You can't change her field hockey game, and yet
Exactly.
you want to be there.
I have 2 teenagers and it's busy. One
I bet.
drives, that's a little easier, but it's a lot of picking up and dropping off and, wanting to attend things for them and family time. So it's just finding a balance.
It is. I think that's a lot of it too, finding that work-life balance and making both be important. And there are times that our families have to accept that we are gone on the weekend to do an open house or go write a contract one evening instead of sharing dinner with them. But on the flip side, it also means that sometimes you can be there at their school event on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock.
I always laugh that my daughter will never want to be in real estate after listening to me on speaker, talking and negotiating and seeing how much I'm working all the time. She's like, I am out on this profession.
And yet I love that you let her listen in on you because it has to be inspiring to her that mom is a great negotiator and a great communicator and takes care of others. It has to be inspirational for her.
Well, I hope so. We want to raise strong women, so I hope so.
I said her and then I was like, I don't even know what your other child is, if it's a girl or a boy. So good.
Well, my older one is a boy and, he's good about understanding, but he doesn't need as much out of me because he drives.
He's grown up to that level of independence now. I love
Exactly.
that. This has been a lot of fun. Is there anything as we wrap up that you want to share with the audience, what you hope that other agents will take from our conversation today?
I don't think so. This has been really fun for me and I've enjoyed it and I appreciate you inviting me.
Well, I'm excited you could do it today. I loved hearing your stories. And again, kudos to you for being able to flip those 2 deals around so quickly.
Well, that was fun. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here, Valerie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. This episode has been sponsored by Home Smart Stars. Agents, do you feel unseen, unheard? Maybe wish you had better commission? Maybe wish that you were welcomed and encouraged to just show up as you are and be your true authentic self and have all the training and support and tools to help you thrive in your real estate career? If so, then you need to reach out to Home Smart Stars and make Home Smart Stars your home for real estate.